journey of 60 years, Uganda's independence did kick off last year, immediately when we were celebrating 59. But on Sunday, we shall be marking 60 years of independence. How are you doing, Uganda? Hope you're okay. Good morning. Welcome aboard to Smart Means Business. This is your daily Kickstarter. The first segment was Meridian taking you through the news recap. Let me hope you're doing okay wherever you're catching us from Channel 394 on Go TV and Channel 372 on DSTV. The Zabu platform is a platform that is dedicated for you to invest in securities and bonds. It is easy. You use the USSD code *292#. That is for the MTN subscribers. Zabo says, my money, my future. Powered by Alltex East Africa. You follow the prompts *292#, and of course, registration needs your NIN now. Your NIN before anything happens. That is your national identification number before you can go ahead. You can select preferred maturity bonds in there, or you can select a preferred bond for your business, and you can enter any amount with a minimum of 15,000 Ugandan shillings. Markets do open at 8:15 a.m. and close at 3:15 p.m. Zabu, my money, my future. Okay, now with the news recap, with the press review this morning, the Daily Monitor has highlighted that the new slum policy is coming up soonest, according to the Minister of Lands, that is the Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, while addressing media yesterday. That is Honorable Judith Nabakoba. So she was actually giving more of the guidelines with the fact that the new policy will be coming up, and this is a new slum policy. What is it about? You can get that from the Daily Monitor. Then on the other hand, Mbale has received 660 million Ugandan shillings maternity hospital. This is to reinforce and re-strengthen the health sector in the eastern part of Uganda, most especially around Mbale areas and districts around that area in regards to maternity. Because when you look at upcountry areas, most of the challenges that they are facing is literally to do with health matters, but more so when it comes to supplies, medical supplies, not only that, but as well as medical facilities that seem to be very harsh on some of the people. On the other hand, now the New Vision says Makerere University has received 90 billion shillings for research and innovation. Makerere University this year is celebrating centenario. It will be marking 100 years of educating Africa. So when you look at these particular fundings that are still coming in, is more of pushing forward for the growth of the university. And then also the oil and gas sector, as well as infrastructure. There is a report, a detailed one, with the New Vision this morning, as the Petroleum Authority of Uganda is set to regulate fuel stations as well as storage terminals. More of that is with the Daily Monitor this morning. That is it for our press review. Let's get into the Smb International News. Well, and with the Smb International News, we start off from Kenya. Now, in Kenya, universities are planning to tap innovations for more revenue. How are they going to do it? The public universities are targeting commercialization of their innovations and research and creation of endowment funds to help diversify revenue and ease the cash flow woes that have forced them into painful reforms. Vice chancellors of different institutions say that inability to sell their innovation continues to deny them an opportunity to reap from the intellectual capital, prompting the push for various deals with the government and the private sector. So Kenya, which has one of the finest infrastructure when it comes to universities in Africa, has got quite a number of those in there. But now they want to tap into the opportunities that arise from public universities, and they do hope that this will be very helpful in the long run. Now, speaking of which, on the other hand, the vice chancellors of the institutions say that inability to sell their innovations continues to deny them an opportunity to reap from their intellectual capital, prompting the push for deals with the government and the private sector. Now, on the other hand, the university chiefs also said there is a need to create endowment funds. Now, these endowment funds will provide the institutions with funds to ramp up their research facilities and also invest in the market for additional revenue in different universities. Now, also, public universities have sunk into cash flow woes in reduced government funding on a sharp drop in the number of self-sponsored students that have left them in a financial hole of at least 68 billion Kenyan shillings and prompted a freeze on infrastructural projects, closure of campus and scrapping up of various courses at the universities. The institutions have also defaulted on statutory obligations. They've also cut salaries by up to half and laid off staff, highlighting their financial woes. Commercialization of research mirrors the practice in the Western world, where the private senior partners with universities are set to develop innovations in sectors. Now, these sectors include medicine and engineering, earning the universities extra revenue. Now, for example, the Oxford University inked a deal with AstraZeneca PLC, a British-Swedish multinational pharmaceutical and biotechnology, 2 years ago to produce the AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine following the outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic. Now, the Kenyan universities are also planning to ensure that this comes to pass. So they want to allow innovations and spare more room for revenue collection in their countries, and that is where you clearly look at most of them. Now, the vice chancellors are recalling that a core function of most of these universities is to develop innovations that, if commercialized, can earn them vast financial returns. And the courtesy videos that you're definitely having on your screen show the top 15 universities in Kenya. And away from Kenya, we head to Tanzania, as the TRA, that is the Tanzania Revenue Authority, has collected 5.92 trillion Tanzanian shillings in 3 months of the 2022-2023 financial year. The Tanzanian Revenue Authority announced that it has collected 5.92 trillion Tanzanian shillings in taxes. Now, this is an amount that is equivalent to 9.1% of the targeted collection in the first quarter of the 2022-2023 fiscal year that we are currently in. According to a statement which was released by the Commissioner of the Tanzania Revenue Authority on the 2nd of October on Sunday, that is Alfayo Chidata, that the authority had targeted to collect 5.978 trillion Tanzanian shillings during the period, now of which they've collected 5.92 trillion. The impressively first quarter performance, according to Chidata, was attributed to the rising willingness to pay taxes by the Tanzanian people, as well as improved relations between the authority and the taxpayers in return. This will resolve issues and the current growth of business and the economic activities in the country. He also said the growth in local industries and international trade led to the achievement. However much, the analysts suggest that there are still some challenges that need to be addressed in the country's tax administration systems. A senior consultant and economist, Professor Samuel Wangwe, did reveal the government has opened up the economy so more businesses can become more operational. Now, on the other hand, however, President Samia Suluhu Hassan's drive to end harassment in tax collection are still some few cases where this is still happening. Recently, manufacturers raised concerns that they have been incurring high costs of the ETS, electronic taxation system, reaching nearly 100 billion shillings a year to acquire the stamps from the SICAPA, which is a Swiss company mandated to supply the ETS to Tanzania. And then lastly, from the Smb International News, we look at the International Energy Agency, as the global gas markets are set to remain tight well into 2023, according to the International Energy Agency. Global natural gas markets will likely remain tight well 2023 as Russia restricts supplies and Europe cuts usage amid high prices and energy-saving measures, according to the International Energy Agency, that is the IEA. And global gas consumption is expected to drop by 0.8% in 2022 as the result of a record 10% contraction in Europe and a static demand in the Asia Pacific and this is showing a growth sign of just 0.4% next year. Now, the International Energy Agency said in its quarterly gas market in a report that was released yesterday. Still, the market outlook is subject to a high level of uncertainty due to Russia's future actions and the economic effect of high energy prices over time, according to the International Energy Agency. Russia's supply of gas to Europe has dwindled to a trickle since the shutdown of the Nord Stream 1 last month and the recent discovery of leaks in the pipeline. Moscow has threatened to sanction Ukrainian energy firm Naftogaz, one of the last remaining Russian gas supply routes to Europe, a move that would exacerbate energy shortages coming into winter. Then also, on the other hand, meanwhile, Europe has offset the decline in Russian gas supplies by looking at the importation of liquefied natural gas and using alternative pipeline supplies from producers such as Norway. Now, the International Energy Agency said it expected Europe's liquefied natural gas imports to increase by more than 60 billion cubic meters this year, keeping the market under pressure for the short to medium term. Such an increase could draw imports away from Asia, keeping them lower than last year for the rest of 2022, and that is according to the International Energy Agency in another statement. And that was it for the Smb International News this morning. Let's get the business tip as well. All right, the business tip says, tell your story visually. Visuals can help your message become actionable. Things like video, whiteboards, images, or other pictures will show you how your prospect's problem will be solved with what you're selling. By using images, you create contrast, which can create the feeling of urgency, which will help you close that sale that is very vital for your business. So tell your story visually. Tell it so that it can be felt by those that you are addressing. Let the people in different communities get to understand the products that you're selling. And with the fact that lately people use more of the internet, it is better to at least use more of the graphics and visual graphic images to prove to the people that this is the service that you're rendering, how it can easily provide a solution as well. Because when you look closely to most of the businesses, even in the world of advertisement lately, people do advertise to bring the story to life. And that is so with our business tip today. Tell your story visually. Besides that, let us have the business quote as we motivate you this morning. Thomas Jefferson, who is the founding father and the president of the United States, says, I find that the harder I work, the more luck I seem to have. I find that the harder I work, the more luck I seem to have. And that is according to Thomas Jefferson, who is the founding father and the president of the United States. I find that the harder I work, the more luck I seem to have. So the more I work harder, you get to realize I become more lucky. And that is according to Thomas Jefferson. So you only become lucky the more you work harder. So work on some of the things, then you will see results reaping for you. That is according to him, and that is the quote of this morning. So wake up and work harder. Make sure that you work tirelessly, because luck will not just hit you by mistake, but you'll definitely be preparing yourself for that luck to hit you. It will only hit you if you are prepared, as you're creating room for the opportunities that you want to receive. This is your daily Kickstarter Smart Means Business. I'm getting back at the top of the hour with our coffee call discussions. Good morning.